All right, welcome in. It is a post-Valentine's edition, 55th rendition of BloodHorse Monday. Hanging out with Sean Collins. My name's Louie Rabaut. We'll ask Sean about his Valentine's Day in just a short few moments, but welcome in, my friend. Our first 50-point Derby prep in the books for sure. Plenty of talk around that. The Rachel Alexandra, the return of Bella Ballerina for sure as we go along. Sean, you're back in the studio.
I am, yes.
You're
after
still
missing out last week.
I can kind of tell you still need a little bit of sleep.
A little bit.
But
we're still going. We're coming out of the illness, so
try to catch up on all of that. By the way, if you are watching, please hit the sub button, hit that 5-star review. Helps us with all of our different all the different that go into building a show like this. We would love for more people to find it. And one of the people we've had on this show before is Mike Smith. He's needs no introduction on this one. We had him on last time to talk Rodriguez of all things. It's been that long, Sean. How about that?
Back before the Derby.
Before the Derby, winning the 100th Wood Memorial there. He joins us from rainy Southern California. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you guys?
We're okay. Did you make it home okay driving in the rain in California? I can only imagine it's like snow in Kentucky.
Yeah, we made it back. It was just a little bit of traffic, but we made it back. They canceled the races today, so
yeah,
getting quite a bit of rain here.
Yeah. Well, we brought you on today, Mike. Obviously, we had the news last week that I'm sure most people watching this have heard about the passing of John Shirreffs, the legendary trainer. And we know you had a very strong relationship with him. You rode many great horses for him, including Zenyatta and Giacomo. Just where were you when you got the news, and kind of what were your initial thoughts?
I was in shock. Just because John was in such great shape, man. I mean, he loved hiking. Matter of fact, they just opened up Mount Wilson back up, and he'd already been up there a time or two. And I just worked a really nice colt for him two days before. Spoke to him actually the day before his passing. So I was just in shock. I was home and had heard rumors, of course, right away. And then I called Dottie and she confirmed, that he had passed in his sleep the night before last. So anyway, it was a shocker. It's been a little bit for it to even soak in, to be honest with you. But we lost one of the great ones there, man.
Well, what's the mood been like out there at Santa Anita the last couple of days? I know I saw a photo of like a little flower bouquet set up outside of Zenyatta's statue, and all sorts of people kind of sending in their tributes. But what has it been like in the mornings back there the last few days?
It's been very somber. It's been very sad, to be honest with you. We just recently, Jim Cassidy passed as well, who was another big prominent trainer out here in California. He passed, and John passed, and that same morning John passed, Mark Glatt's wife had passed, man. So it's been a tough couple of weeks out here, boy. But we're family back here, and everyone's kind of gotten together. We're all pulling through. The game must go on, but they're going to be all of them. They're going to be all sort of so missed, man. I mean, they were great people, man. And as you well know, John was an incredible horseman, man.
Mike Smith with us. We were remembering the life of John Shirreffs.
Yeah.
And Mike, you've got quite the cast of characters in California. Every circuit has its own for sure. We saw some of the videos, for example, around Risen Star Saturday. I can only imagine what it's like to be down there in New Orleans this time of year. But a guy like John, I've seen so many quotes, Mike, from fans, from people who worked with him, people who, from jockeys, etc., that he instilled a certain confidence, that he instilled a certain there's almost a class with working with John. What was it like working with John Shirreffs?
He's amazing. Just an amazing man. He made me feel like I was just that much better than anyone. He just had that way of making everyone feel that way. He really did. He was a big, tall, just a beautiful man inside and out. He was just a great human being, and he was his training tactics. He gave him all the time in the world and then some. And then on top of that, he was never scared or cared about what people thought. He'd step outside the box and do some awkward things and different kind of training, styles and different kind of training techniques that he had heard about or seen or wanted to try. And just, he treated every horse was an individual, man. They're all different. They all had their own program. It wasn't like it was just one program and they all had to train by it. I mean, each horse was an individual and he treated them all that way.
Well, you obviously rode quite a few good horses for him as well. Zenyatta and Giacomo, just are the top of the mountain that we talk about with his horses. But obviously, for you to get the mounts on those kinds of horses, the relationship had to start somewhere with John. What are some of your earliest memories with him? How did the relationship between you two form?
Yeah, it's a good story. I had met him before. Of course, I had never ridden for John. At the time, I was based out of New York, and John was out here in California. But he had a really good mare called Mystique that Gary Stevens was riding, and that's kind of the first time I'd met John. And he had just gotten the Moss job when I first came out here. So of course I went by and I wanted to see if I can get an opportunity to ride some for him. And it's so funny because he had just got the 2-year-olds in. He said, "Man, you ain't gonna believe I just got a 2-year-old in by Holy Bull." He said, "Come out and take a look and tell me what you think, man." And of course he looked just like his dad, So I was like, "Wow, he looks just like his dad." I said, "Can I get on?" Of course you can. Yeah, you're gonna breeze next week and you'll get on. Anyway, I got on him and loved him, and that was the start of our relationship. Was actually Giacomo. And I just remember jokingly once we realized that he had that kind of talent, I said, "Man, this horse can. If you get him to the Derby," I said, "I will win this thing. This horse is going to redeem his father's name, because Holy Bull was such a big favorite in the Derby, and just didn't run for whatever reason that day. But sure enough, lo and behold, we get him there, and he just runs the race of his life, and to win that race, and it was just incredible how the whole thing worked out. And then one thing led to another, and I wind up riding just about everything for him for several years, and then along comes, the great mare Zenyatta, and a lot of great ones in between Tiago, and there was so many good horses we had back then, and we had a lot of fun, man. I'll tell you that we had a lot of great times together.
Well, sticking with Giacomo there, obviously that was your first Kentucky Derby win. It was John's first Kentucky Derby win. What was it like for him winning that race? Like, what do you kind of remember it meaning to him? I remember seeing something, somebody, I think it might have been Jenny Reese, mentioned that she asked him when he was at the Derby this past year how many times that he's watched the replay of Giacomo, and he actually said, "I've never watched it because I have the memory of it. I have it in my heart." He something along those lines. So what did winning that race mean to him?
Oh, it meant so much to John and Dottie. Listen, that was not only did they win it, that was a homebred.
Right. Yeah.
So you win it with a homebred as well. That's like icing on the cake, man. That's even better. So it meant so much to them because he thought all along, these California tracks back then were really quick. It was before synthetic and they were fast, and it just didn't suit his style out here. But we thought that back east would, and once we got him to Churchill and we saw the way he was handling that track out there, and then if you look at the race, it was a very talented bunch of horses. I mean, there was really good horses in there, but they were all really quick, right? They were all horses that had to be, somewhat close. If they weren't on the lead, they were just right off of it, and it set up for such a fast early pace. It just set up for a closer, and man, I mean the seas just parted everywhere I went. It's just like someone opened the door for me, and I never had to tap on the brakes not one time, which I needed every bit of that to get to the wire first, So, you talk about not only getting to win it, but the trip he had was just incredible.
Mike Smith with us. This is BloodHorse Monday. He's Sean Collins, and I'm Louie Rabaut. Thanks for hanging out with us. 56th edition of this thing, Mike. The memory of that Derby, and then the 2 weeks leading into Baltimore. A guy like John Shirreffs, I have to imagine, was the same guy for those 2 weeks that he was all the time. Is that true during that Triple Crown? Was he able to maintain the John thing, or did you even catch him kind of looking ahead?
No, it's so funny going back to just before I get into that, but going back to the Derby, we were going to take the win picture with John, who wasn't nowhere to be found. I mean, we had to wait.
Sounds right.
15 minutes because he was walking back to the barn with a horse. He didn't even want to take the picture. He's like, "No, you guys go ahead. I'll see y'all back at the barn." I said, "Are you kidding me? No, we're not going to go ahead. We're waiting." I was screaming at him and had to literally ride up to him and get him to come, run up and get him to come back. He wanted to go back. He said, "You guys take the picture. I'm going back to the barn. I'll wait for the horse to come back." And so yeah, we had him
even for the Derby.
Even for the Derby, and he didn't change one bit in between or going into New York. And I think he actually loved going back into New York a lot too, because he was kind of from out that area and he admired so many people out that way, and he loved when we got to go into New York as well.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because when we heard the news the other day, I went back and I went to find my video clip of Baeza going into the winner's circle, thinking that I would have had a shot of John in there next to Baeza at the Pennsylvania Derby, and he wasn't in there. And I saw him like out in the back as the horse was walking into the winner's circle, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. But
he wouldn't get in. No, you guys go ahead. He actually loved watching our reaction. In the owner's reaction, he enjoyed that more than being in there,
Yeah. Well, obviously the major horse that I think he's going to be remembered for the most is the legendary Zenyatta, who you know very well. I think one of the things that really has separated Zenyatta from a lot of other racing stars, the same kind of thing that accompanied American Pharoah, was how much access was given to her throughout her racing career, how much John loved to share her with the racing public, share her with anybody that came by the barn. What was... like, obviously the whole racing career was exceptional, but what were those kind of moments like, seeing John kind of take Zenyatta and share her with the world?
They were incredible. She was different. John always said she's an experience. You have to see it to understand it or to believe it. John always said that, and he knew what she meant to the game, what she meant to the sport, and to horse racing. And so he shared it with everybody. And he's the one that got me to, every time we were blessed to win, one after the other, he would say, listen, ride her on down to the 16th pole on farther. Normally you'd stop right at the winner. So he said, let everybody see her. Plus it'll give her a little time to cool out. Go ahead and ride her way down there, So they all had to wait on us all the time. I'd ride her all the way down the end of them. And she'd just get it'd be like a wave of people just standing up and cheering for her. Yep. And the fans loved her so much. And, of course, they'd all come out, see her in the morning after training hours. And he always took the time to let everybody take a shot with her and help graze her and feed her carrots and all that good stuff. And it was just amazing, the whole thing. And it's like John always said, that you have to see it to understand it. If you didn't get a chance to see it, you hear all these stories. But when you saw it, you were like, wow, because it was something to see, it really was.
How much conversation did you guys have about Zenyatta? Because it from the outside looking in, she feels turnkey. It feels like you get on the back and get out of the way, let her go do the things that she's great at. But obviously, there's much more to that for sure. What were those conversations like? What was her development like as you rode her over the years?
There was a lot of little tricks she had to do, man. She was tough to train. She wasn't easy. She'd get out there on the track, and if you took her out there and just backed her up and went to turn her around, man, she would run sideways. She'd go from the outside fence to the inside fence back. For such a big horse, she's so agile. She'd just go all over the place. So he got to where he'd take her back to the quarter pole, make her stand and stand and stand. And that's why that dancing started. She really didn't do that before, but she had so much energy built up that when she would stand still, she'd have to release it somehow. And she just started that dancing thing. And that's how it all started, But it did help her a lot. It did help her to calm down and to kind of gather herself before she got into training. And then, you'd have to train her with several different horses. So when we would breeze her for a big race, and if you were going to breeze 3/4, it took 2 other horses to make her get the 3/4, because once she passed the first one, or if she didn't even have one, she wouldn't really go. She just prick her big old ears and just gallop around there. But if you put somebody in front of her, of course, she'd catch it so easy that she would think the work was over, and she was that way in the races as well. So you'd have one that would break off a couple in front of her, then they'd have one waiting for her at the 3/8 pole. So once I'd pass that one, then I'd hook into a fresh one at the 3/8 pole to get her to finish all the way, through the wire. And she'd outwork them both almost every time. It was amazing, man. She really would.
Well, when we look at Zenyatta's career, and obviously she got started pretty late, and just based off everything you described there was obviously quite a bit that you guys had to learn about her. How much of her success is due to John's patience with her and just giving her that time to develop, giving her the opportunity, I guess sacrificing 2 other horses every workout to make sure that she had the chance to get what she needed out of them? Just how much did that patience really pay off and turn her into the legend that we know her as?
I don't think she wouldn't have been Zenyatta. You know, I mean, she certainly could have run her a lot earlier, but he just never thought. When we were breezing her early on in her 3-year-old, when she was 3, I thought she was ready to get. He said, "No, more time." I was like, "More time?" I wanted to ride her so bad. I didn't. I wanted to ride her so bad that the first time he run her, I didn't get to ride her because I had to be out of town. And he decided, all out of the whim, all of a sudden now she's ready. And you're gonna run her 3/4 of a mile? Are you kidding me? And I was like, I got to be out of town. You can't run her now. No, don't. And it was Thanksgiving Day, and I had to ride a filly called Tessa Blue for Frankie Brothers at Churchill. She was a really nice mare as well.
Yep.
I'd win a Group 1 on her. So I had to go ride her. So I didn't get to ride her the first couple of times that she ran, but I finally got her back. And I threw a fit until I got her back too. Boy, he never stopped hearing it. From the time I got home, I was like, I'm riding her next time. He's like, well, we'll see. I might have to. We got this other filly. I think you got to be out of town this next time as well. And so, but finally, it all worked out when we got back together again. And the rest was history. But honestly, if he wouldn't have took that time, she won. She was big. She was 17-2. She was growing. She had a lot of, mentally and physically, she just needed time. And then when he got time, he even gave her more time. And that's what she needed. And I don't think she'd have been who she was without John.
All right. So we've all seen the Breeders' Cups. We've seen some of these races. What's the one that you think's kind of an under the radar great performance by hers that even a guy like John was like, man, I can't believe she won this one?
There was a time, I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on the filly that we beat, but she was a really good filly for Mike Mitchell.
Okay.
Man, I don't know why I'm just drawing a blank on her name right now, but she was a really nice mare in her own right. She was a Group 1 winner in her own right. And I was spotting her so much weight, and they got to go so slow. And that filly of Mike Mitchell's had some turn of foot, man. So she had a good 5-length head start on me from like inside from the quarter pole to the 8 pole. I mean, she just opened up on me where you'd have thought there's no way in the world Zenyatta could catch her. And it seemed like it took the length of the stretch, but in 2 jumps, she just went boop and just got her. That fast, man. It was crazy. And that mare never was the same again. I don't think that mare ever made it back to the races. I mean, she did that to quite a few fillies. She would just crush them, man. I mean, spiritually and physically, she would do that to you, man. She'd make them run so hard, and she would just beat them with her ears straight forward. She was just amazing, man.
What is it about the fillies and mares, Mike? Why do we fall in love with them? What is it about them? What is it about the Zenyatas and the Torpedo Annas and the what is it about these fillies and mares, man?
Personality, man. They're just the mares are so special, man. They really are. They're all different. I mean, look at all the great mares that we've gotten to see, and everyone remembers them too. Rachel and of course Ruffian and all the great mares that have come up. But of course they remember the boys too. But there's something about the filly and mares, man. They're just special.
Well, one kind of final question I have relating to John is just, I know you kind of touched on it already a little bit, but when somebody comes up to you in the future and they ask you like, oh, what was John Shirreffs like? What's your go-to answer?
He was just he was the kindest man I ever met. He really was. He had a huge heart, man. And it just made you feel so good when you're around him. He just made everybody. I just used to think that I was that good. He made me feel like I was that good, but I didn't realize he was making, Gary Stevens and Victor Espinoza and everybody else feel that way as well. And Chris McCarron. I mean, they'll all tell you, yes, Chris McCarron, all the guys about John. He just made you feel good, man. He was just a wonderful, wonderful horseman. And you could just see it, his horses, the care that he took for them. They all had their own special drink that he'd make them. One had a carrot smoothie, this one had a Guinness beer, and this one had this, and this one, And he just took the time every day to take care of each and every horse, man. He's just an amazing dude. Anyway, I couldn't just say one thing, I'd have to sit down and have a good long time to talk to you to tell you all about him,
Well, we do want to look ahead a little bit here as well, and ask you about one of the horses that you're currently riding and So Happy, the winner of the San Vicente Stakes. I believe the plan was to kind of point him forward toward the San Felipe next, stretch him out around the 2 turns. Just what do you think of him stretching out when you're thinking towards some of these races later in the spring?
I mean, listen, he showed that he has the ability to be with the top 3-year-olds. I mean, he showed him, that in these sprint races. Now he's got to do it going around 2 turns, But man, he gives me every indication that he will. you know, after each and every race, he recovers real quick. He's not distressed. The best part of his race is at the end, early on, but yet he's tactically quick enough to be, you know, he's the right kind of horse tactically to have in these classic races, these 3-year-old races, because he'll get you position going into that first turn right away. You just got to be able to get the 2 turns. Now, we won't know that for a fact until he actually does it. I mean, we can sit here and talk about all we want, but you know, people say, well, he's by Run Happy. You know, well, Run Happy's father won the Kentucky Derby, and Run Happy really only tried to go long one time in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and that was a torrid pace. I mean, a horse that could get a mile and a quarter wouldn't have got a mile going that fast early on. So, I mean, I think it can be done. He's already had a couple others that have gone long. So we'll just have to see, though. You know, he'll have to go out there and do it. He's training good right now. We had a minor setback a while, about 4 or 5 works back, but right now he's like training lights out again. Worked yesterday morning, worked really, really well. He'll have 2 more major works before his race, and then we'll see what he does.
So happy out of a blame mare. I think that's kind of a perfect way to, but a perfect way to start to end this conversation with Mike Smith as well.
Does that make you not want to ride him at all?
No, because Blame owes me, man. He owes me a lot. Blame
you know what?
I got to get it out from somewhere. Yeah,
you'll forgive him if you get a Derby horse out of him.
Blame feels bad for me, so he's paying me back with one of his his grandson. You know, he's paying me back.
Well, that's the good stuff for sure. Well, Mike, thank you so much for making the time. We really do extend our condolences to everybody out at Santa Anita.
I'll let Dottie know as well.
You guys are going through it right now, and Mark and everybody for sure. Yes. Please put an arm around everybody for us. We appreciate it very much, and thanks for being with us on BloodHorse.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
There you go, Mike Smith. Now friend of the show, Mike Smith.
Yes.
Once you're on second time, you're a friend of the show for sure. Appreciate him jumping on. All the Zenyatta stories are incredible.
Oh yeah,
all of them. And it's one of those. So you interviewed me for BloodHorse when we started doing this thing, okay? And one of the things I said at the end that I actually got a lot of comments on was that I said, I love the people in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
And John's one of those people. When you hear the stories, he had Zenyatta to display, and he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All of the great stories that we talk about in horse racing are on the track for sure, but when you feel like you're connected to the great athletes of our sport, it makes it that much better. I never felt connected to Flightline. I never felt connected to many of the great colts who have been in our game, but I feel like I know Torpedo Anna.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw Zenyatta after, days and days and days of him making her available to crowds when she was here at Churchill Downs for that Breeders' Cup. I feel those connections to Rachel, to other horses, other mares in that group. And a guy like John understood that just intuitively, it seems, right? All the stories are, just for example, other podcasts in horse racing started because the guys followed Zenyatta.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys got into horse racing because of Zenyatta, and that's because of John. And you hear guys like Mike Smith saying, he's the one who gave me confidence. And then he mentions Victor Espinoza. He mentions Chris McCarron. He mentions Stevens. Gary bleeping Stevens.
Yes.
All these kinds of things. It is a remarkable reminder of how much one person that you might not interact with can really affect even your life.
Mm-hmm.
And John's one of those guys. Cool stories. I really appreciate Mike jumping on.
Yeah.
It's a tough time out there right now. Oof.
Yeah. Well, some of the stories I have with John kind of, go on that same thing. I only got to talk to him a couple times toward the end of last year.
Sure. Pennsylvania Derby.
Yeah. First time I'd interviewed him maybe a couple times. So, it's in that large group of people. It's Derby time where you're seeing like all sorts of new faces for the trainers, especially. When it comes to people interviewing you. So the Pennsylvania Derby was the first opportunity I really had to kind of actually have a conversation with him. And I remember Baeza didn't even come out on the track that first morning I was there or something, but John was just walking around looking at everything. And I asked him, I was like, what are you like? It's just cool to see you kind of out here looking. And he's like, well, I've never been here before. I just want to see everything. And so he was that kind of person where he was like just kind of taking it in, even somewhere like Parks, which isn't thought of as, kind of a top tier racetrack, but he was just like, I just want to see everything. And Mike mentioned that little thing about the not going in the winner's circle. And then I mentioned that happened with Baeza. He was up there. He had to get on a flight an hour after that Baeza won that race to go back to California. But, he stopped. We ran him down and we stopped. He stopped to answer our questions after the race. And then, so that was kind of like the first interaction I had with him. And then I was at the Breeders' Cup, 5 weeks later. And I was on the one viewing stand on the backstretch. And he comes walking up and he sees me up there. We've only had 2 conversations at Parks and then the post-race interview at Parks. And he walks up, he's like, "Oh, I know you. You look familiar." And so
awesome.
So,
awesome.
He remembered me. We kind of caught up a little bit. But then 2 days after that, on actual Breeders' Cup Day with Baeza, he actually ended up being directly next to me for the running of the race itself. Because anybody who knows me knows I always try to get above the finish line in an elevated view. And that just happened to be where he was trying to get as well. So we were kind of standing side by side. We talked a little bit. I wished him luck. But then going to your point about the impact that he's made on people that he's never met, people in front of us, one of them looked back, as we were having the conversation, and then I saw him whisper to his wife, and then his wife goes, "You trained Zenyatta, didn't you?" And so then it turned into, so here we are 5 minutes from Baeza running in the richest race in America.
Wow.
And we're having Zenyatta conversations. Because that's the impact that she had. That's the impact that she had because of him. And so he was a big part of that. I see you have his page pulled up on the screen right now where you have that picture of him throwing the hat into the crowd after she won the Breeders' Cup Classic. You mentioned sharing the horses with people. I think the greatest example of this is the difference in how we all feel about American Pharoah and Justify. Both of them won the Triple Crown, and not to say Bob Baffert didn't share Justify, but he was obviously around a lot shorter. He was in the public eye for a lot shorter of a time period. Versus Pharoah, and he also had being the first one in 37 years. He had that, but
the Haskell.
Yeah, he had the appearance at the Haskell, the Travers, and just
Classic,
the video. I remember, being the videos, seeing him in the barn the day after the Belmont with just a swarm of people around him, petting him, and the access that Bob Baffert gave people.
That's right.
To him. And I mean, I was already a huge racing fan, but that was part of what sealed the deal even more for me on Pharoah. And I have my YouTube channel now named after Pharoah that is based on that kind of thing, of the in-person experience at the racetracks and getting up close to these horses and seeing them for the incredible athletes they are. And it's thanks to Bob Baffert sharing American Pharoah that I do that. And it's that probably was a little bit thanks to seeing how much
almost certainly influenced by John Shirreffs.
Showed Zenyatta. And I saw a couple people commenting on Twitter the other day after he passed away, talking about times where they came by to see her, she wasn't out yet, and then he brought her out for them.
Yes.
And it just kind of, when you recognize that you have a superstar of the sport and how much people can really connect specifically with horses, and then you share them, I think that plays a huge role in it. There's probably countless fans that are fans of this game and follow this sport because of her. And that is because of him, because of what he did with her. So that's going to be a lasting legacy that he has. I thought Mike summed him up perfectly. But yeah, a great loss for the sport here.
2009 wins the Breeders' Cup Classic, of course, with Zenyatta. Also wins the Distaff at that time, of course, the Ladies Classic with Life is Sweet in the same year. And I remind people of that only, Sean, because more recently in our minds, and for good reason, are Mystic Dan and Torpedo Anna because of Kenny. And Kenny McPeak deserves all of the credit for that. Brian Hernandez Jr. deserves all of the credit for that. I'm not putting those things down at all. But no need to forget that was also done on a Friday, Saturday at a Breeders' Cup of all things.
Yes.
At a very, very high level by a guy named John Shirreffs. So, but we did the same thing with Jose D'Angelo this year when he won back-to-back Breeders' Cup races, on the same day, same card, different horses, of course. But, those sorts of things, whenever there's an incredible double like that. But I was so taken, Sean, all of the tributes. This is when people are very much of a very specific ilk, that all of the stories about them are the same.
Yeah.
They're all the same. All the John Shirreffs stories are the same. I guarantee if we got Gary Stevens on and did the interview like we did with Mike, it would sound the same.
Yeah.
If we talked to Victor Espinosa, it would sound the same. And that is a massive testament. It also speaks to, and you've been around the game long enough, the best trainers are the same people all the time.
Yeah.
because the job requires it, right?
Exactly.
And if you run into, like, I know what Brendan Walsh is wearing right now. Like, I know which vest he wore to the track this morning. Like, I know exactly what he's wearing right now.
You know,
That
Brad
guy's-
Cox has,
I know
has
what,
his hat
there's
on.
a blue hat on Brad Cox right now. There are things, you know, but what I'm getting at is that was John. And so in between no, you go to the winner's circle. This is your horse.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, you want to see Zenyatta? I can do that for
Yeah.
you. He's almost it. Yeah, I don't know a good analogy there, but it's a remarkable.
And
remarkable
Mike
service right
mentioned this one point briefly, and I don't want to gloss over it. We had this story on BloodHorse last year, right before the Belmont, of the carrot smoothie that he made for Baeza, because Baeza like didn't like chewing the carrots, and so they would spend the time to grind the carrots, spend the money to get as many carrots as were needed for that, grind it into a smoothie for him because he could drink it. But like
that's the only horse I know that doesn't love to chew a carrot.
I know
it's the one.
But like Mike mentioned in that same sentence, the Guinness, that was something Zenyatta did.
Zenyatta.
But like, you know, just taking the time and the effort, you know, to make sure that, as Mike said, that he was taking care of every single individual horse, whatever they needed, he was there to make sure that he was taking care of them. That was such a huge part to his success and to why you know, his horses were as good as they were.
I interviewed Jinx Fires. He's going to win the National HBPA Lifetime Achievement Award, essentially Living Legend Award. And he said all of the same things that John Shirreffs said about training. It's just that John Shirreffs trains Zenyatta. And he won with Giacomo, and he'll be different for that forever. Yes. Right. I mean, that's really the difference. And it is nice when people who accomplish great things are also very nice people.
Exactly.
And John did that for our sport for sure.
Yes.
And he will absolutely be missed. And it was one of those, I got the news and I immediately texted Barry because we work on the Southern California show together. Mm-hmm. And we just this moment of, wait, what?
Yeah.
He's got good horses. Like he's not just still training. He's training at the highest level of the sport.
One of the top horses in the country.
Yeah, right. So it's just a stunner for sure.
Yeah. I got a text from my friend Alex. He was like, is this true? Did he die? And at that point I hadn't heard it yet. And then, so I went online and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. I ended up spending the entire night. That night I went back. This probably wasn't the race I should have watched, but I went back and watched the full ESPN broadcast from the 2010 Breeders' Cup Classic. Yep. And so
it's
just seeing like that was cool to watch, even though, you know, Zenyatta lost that race, just to see like the craziness of the crowd and like how much they loved her and how much like seeing how deep the rows were in the paddock. And like, this isn't the Kentucky Derby and Churchill's still filled to the brim of people. And then I ended up spending a little bit like finding people's on-site like video cameras, hearing like that devastating like, oh, when she just missed. But it was just that,
oh yeah,
but it's one of the just like, I mean, we always dream of having horses like that and experiences like that, and the way we get them is by having people like John with the horse and, you know, kind of lifting them up, sharing them with people. That's how we get that kind of connection with people for sure.
Horses trying to become Zenyatta include Bella Ballerina. Mm-hmm. To the credit of Brendan Walsh, he's quoted as saying, "Why can't she be as good as Pretty Mischievous?" Yep. No pressure.
Perhaps.
Luckily, Bella Ballerina does not speak English, and so she doesn't know that he said that. What'd you make of her performance this weekend? Golden rail at the fairgrounds, but still you got to take advantage of it to win the race.
Yes, you do. And yeah, I mean, she battled back hard on the inside of that Rachel Alexandra Stakes. She was one that coming out of last year, I thought was probably my top Oaks horse. And so I thought I feel like this was a hard race to come back in. The way that she ended up running, like where she got headed by Love Your Neighbor and had to battle back on the inside, but I think she's going to build a lot off of that. I did like the win. I like seeing the motivation to come back on the inside, because I mean, she was. I didn't get to watch the races live this weekend because I was out and about. It was Valentine's Day, so I was out and about. But so
what do you really love?
So
Sean?
I already knew she had won when I watched the race, and like halfway down the stretch, I was like, how did she win this? I was like, was there a disqualification or something? And then she came back and she won. And I was like, okay. So I think she
does that bother you at all that she got past in the stretch?
No, because I like that she fought back.
Okay.
Yeah. I like seeing that she fought back. And I think she'll improve off of that. First start of the year, first start off in a couple months. I'm not going to discount or anything like that. Love Your Neighbor is a good horse.
She is a good horse.
And
Louie is frankly about as well timed a trip as he was ever going to get. He gave her the best chance to win in that spot.
Yeah, and I don't know.
He had a great day.
I'm looking. You got the chart up here. I don't know how she was 7-1 in that race. I don't. People were leaving money out there, but
they overbet.
But it's not like this was like some. Well, even like there are a couple other horses that were 3-1 in that race. So I don't know why Love Your Neighbor wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
But like this wasn't just some random 50-1 shot who was running the big race. Like this was a good horse, and she got passed and she battled back on the inside. And so I like to see where she's moving forward. I don't know if they'll keep her at Fairgrounds or if she'll end up.
If she likes it there,
I would think so too. And
because even the second place finish up next,
she's in Kentucky Oaks. Yeah,
I mean, Love Your Neighbor's right on the. She's knocking on the door right now.
Yep. So
because that's 20 points right there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've got 2 legit horses in the Philly division down there at Fairgrounds from this weekend. So
is Bella Ballerina top of your Oaks rankings?
Yeah, I would say her and Zany probably.
I would have Zany ahead. That's
yeah.
Me. Yeah.
I actually, but I've been bad.
I also very much
have not
trust.
Gone back and watched her race yet.
Oh, okay, but I do trust.
Coast, but
I do trust.
I did like her Demoiselle, and I had her up there, and so I've heard the Suncoast was impressive. So I need to go back and watch it at some point. So after it's one of those two. I just have to actually go watch that race.
I also very much trust Brandon Walsh to have her ready by.
Yes, and I mean we know the bloodline is going to be good enough.
Not very not worried about it. Yes, correct. On the other side of things, and this is when I know the BloodHorse Monday effect is real. I'm talking to Kevin Kilroy, who we've had on the show from Fairgrounds on my radio show on Friday, and the phone rings during the segment, and it is Brooke Smith, owner of Paladin, calling during a radio segment to tell us how great his horse looks.
Yep.
I didn't
Is
think
he calling right now?
Does he know? Not Brooke. Okay, so are they live or not? Here's all of the things I need to say about Paladin. That is an obviously very talented horse who is also very green in his 3rd run ever.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we get to May, he is going to be a monster.
Yes.
That is what I need to say about Paladin.
Yes.
Who do you think rides Paladin going forward? This is hilarious. Can we not have a hilarious moment about Paladin? Because Tyler's got them out. Do we remember this story before? Yeah. This is funny. It's okay to say out loud. Do they make the change back to Pratt immediately? My guess is yes, right?
I mean, I would think so. The only reason Pratt missed was because he was out
in Saudi.
He was out in Saudi Arabia. Yep. So like you can't really blame him for, he's trying to win a $20 million race halfway across the world. You can't really blame
Tyler's
him for
totally
that,
okay getting a $300,000 check headed the horse's way for sure.
So I would imagine Flavian gets back on him. But yeah, I did really like this performance. I know I've made some comments about the quality of the Louisiana horses right now. In the Derby.
Do you consider Paladin part of the Louisiana Trail since he's going to the Bluegrass?
So I'm glad to see that he shipped in, he handled business, and he went on. I do want to say I was more impressed with Chip Honcho.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
In this race than even I was in his Gun Runner win.
Yep.
I thought he ran really well. I also, he did get the lead kind of to himself. So I don't know how I feel about him Derby potential wise, but I do love. Steve Asmussen every year has that one horse that just dances every dance down there at Fairgrounds. And I love it. And I hope he keeps doing it. He keeps having the horse every year. I think outside of Paladin, when we're looking toward the Derby, I'm not really liking any of the Derby contenders that are down there in Louisiana. And obviously now nothing's going to ship out. What about that's becoming like the Chad Brown route, the Remsen, the Risen Star, and Bluegrass. That seems
at least with Sierra Leone and now with Paladin, right?
Too.
Zandon, that's true. Yeah, good point.
So that's kind of becoming the thing now that when we know he has a legit horse, we could watch for this little trail.
Well, let's be clear. Brad Cox has a serious streak of Gulfstream now.
Yep.
Right. We've known Pletcher is going through that route already. Pletcher's now starting to use Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
In a really Rapoli's using Tampa.
Yep.
In a really serious way. So it makes sense that you would need to. Look, Cox is going to be at Fairgrounds, but who else is there? It's Asmus and him and Joe Sharp,
Cherie DeVoe,
right? Yep. And then locals, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, if you're talking about Godolphin level horses like a Paladin,
or
a
Coolmore
in this case, excuse me, but in a Coolmore in this case, or a Bella Ballerina is what I meant. I'm sorry, is a Godolphin horse. When you've got those kinds of horses at that very high level, you do have to kind of avoid some of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Renegade's at Tampa, right? Until you come over here and you run in this spot.
Yeah,
They might beat Renegade, but I think.
Well, the thing I really like about it too is, I mean, he's going to be well traveled by the time he gets to the Derby, which I like when
I do too.
The horse, we know that the horses can handle different kind of scenarios where we know that they can handle different kind of things. I hope this starts picking up some traction. Maybe we get them together in the Bluegrass, or I think maybe Renegade's just going to go to Tampa Bay Derby. But I like that. We have the potential for a little rivalry now between these two. Renegade beat Paladin in their first start, but was disqualified, so Paladin was given the win.
Yep.
And then Paladin came back and beat him in the Remsen.
By a couple.
And now they're splitting up and turning into two of the major players here on the Derby trail. So I like that kind of storyline going into the Derby. I think that makes for a fun Kentucky Derby if the two of them are at the top of their game. If they both run well, and then moving forward into the summer, I like that. I like rivalries like that.
It gets me going.
I'm wishing them both success, so that way we can have that kind of rivalry. I mean, look how fun last year was with Sovereignty Journalism and Baeza. If we could get another one like that, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Quality Mischief will run in the Pat Day Mile. You heard it here.
Will he win the Pat Day Mile?
No.
Okay, but he will run. So if you're allowed to place a bet on who's going to be in the field,
that's my guess.
Louie is telling you to place that.
Oh man, Derby preps and Oaks preps this weekend will be just up the street from us. What's up, man?
We got to talk. We missed a couple. We got to talk about Sunland.
Yeah, what am I doing?
We should probably mention Saudi too. At least I don't know about the Derby. I don't know how much the Derby is going to really impact anything, but the Saudi Cup we got to talk. So let's start Sunland Derby here.
You want to do Sunland Derby next?
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. Wrote the recap.
Look at you, a little recap talk.
Ready to talk about this race. Yeah.
Well, you wrote the recap for a publication called BloodHorse and BloodHorse.com, Sean.
Yes, check it out.
Yeah, how was that?
Good. I don't know. We had Express Kid coming into this race. Obviously coming out of the Springboard Mile, and then he goes and he sells for a whole lot of money at a flash digital sale.
By the way, let's set this up a little bit differently.
Okay.
So Sunland Derby, I imagine people kind of just go whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially now that it's 20 points and not 50.
But let's do this anyway. In the past in this race, you've had horses like Governor Charlie. Okay, about a decade ago. Getaway Car last year. Okay, and then the year before, the Santa Anita Derby came out. Derby winner came out of this race in Stronghold.
Yep.
Okay,
and then even go back to Slow Down Andy a few years.
Slow Down Andy a couple years before that. Yep,
G2.
Fireline's in this group. Okay, so this is all of us should think of this as another stop on the West Coast Derby Trail, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this is, and it's the two turns, it's distance, it's all the things. So you do get good getaway car. You get good horses out of this race. Now, whether you like the winner this year or not is a different question. You were talking about the Remington, the Springboard Mile.
Yeah, well, you had a nice horse, an Express Kid, kind of popping up back here, and I mean Pavlovian, Express Kid, I don't think was stopping. I think Pavlovian just kind of ran him down at the end of that race. And looking at Pavlovian's past performances, probably not one that super excites you when you're thinking about his long-term potentials. When you look at he won the Sunland Derby, but he seems like the kind of horse, especially listening to Doug O'Neill talk about him afterwards, he seems like the kind of horse who's been really tricky in the races. You might, I don't know if you remember from Breeders' Cup Friday, he was in the Golden State Juvenile and he dropped his rider at the start of the race. So he's been quirky. He's had some things that they've had to figure out. But I mean, we just talked with Mike Smith about how once they figured everything out with Zenyatta, obviously she turned into this great horse. Not saying that Pavlovian's going to be Zenyatta, but it seems like they're finally starting to figure it out. They finally kind of got him out of the gate properly, and he stalked the pace, and then he ran down a legit horse on the lead. So, and on top of that, I think as well, the distance is getting longer, and I think that will help him. So I don't know if he's necessarily a Derby horse, but he's definitely one that you can't just throw out because it was the Sunland Derby or whatever. It might be that he's coming around. He's finally figuring it out. And we'll see what I'm assuming he's going to end up probably in the Santa Anita Derby would be my guess for his next start. Like they'll give him the shot in there. And I think he's one you have to consider for sure. I don't know where they send Express Kid after this, but I did like his win, and I wouldn't put him like on the top of my rankings or anything like that. But I do think this is a horse that you have to see if he takes another step forward. I was very underwhelmed. I think this is the slowest speed figure we'll get in a Derby prep this year. And you're getting two opinions right here. And I'm going back to the Iroquois. I think this will be the worst winner of a race. I think this is a $3,000 Calbred. Okay. I mean, I think that. What do you think about Express Kid? Do you think? I don't. Yeah. Okay. I don't.
I think they sold him right when you should sell those.
Yes, I agree.
Perfect timing on that. Good for them.
Especially
Yeah.
on the derby side of things. I'm thinking maybe distance wise. Like he could be like maybe a nice horse.
This is a horse that couldn't win Calbred stakes.
But he was also having problems getting out of the gate though. Now that he's getting out of the gate. He was second in the best pal last year. I will throw that out there. So he is graded stakes place. But,
over 1 turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say at this point I disagree with you, but I am saying I'm going to give him another shot in the next race to see what he does.
Oh, we've seen way weirder things out of the Doug O'Neill barn. And by the way, shout out to Doug O'Neill. This horse has already started 9 times in his career.
Yeah,
shout out.
What would you have done? What would you have said about I'll have another after he shocked the Robert B. Lewis at 40-1?
But his speed figures were good. Like his time was good. Like he was a good winner of that race.
To speed figures back then.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, but he was a good.
Yeah,
you a terrible parent, Sean. But no, I
was watching the races, but I wasn't looking at the speed figures.
Your mom's not beating buyer speed figures into your head. I mean, come on, mom, be better. But but no, I just think Pavlovian's slower. The Pavel horses are fine if you want to go like 1.5 miles on the turf and just plod your way to the end. It's totally fine. But Bellamy Road on the damn side. I mean,
turf pick then.
I don't know that. There's also, by the way, a million good Calbred races.
Yes,
like he'll be fine.
He'll be successful. Yeah.
Like we just saw Mana Rose win yesterday, in the
Palos Verdes.
Yes, in the Palos Verdes, and
I think that was open company.
It is. It was grade 3. And what I'm getting at is the Calbreds are still good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just usually not Derby good. That's why California Chrome stands out so much.
Yes,
because they're not usually that level anymore. Now they used to be for sure, but Pavlovian I think is probably a step below some of those. Who else did you want to talk about, Sean? Well, Forever Young, maybe?
Yeah, we got to talk about Forever Young out there for taking down Nisos in that Saudi Cup. I want to hear your opinions on this race first because you texted me very excited after the race.
I think we got exactly what all of us need North American wise out of that race. We need Forever Young to be the target for November for everybody.
Yep.
He showed that again. We need Nisos to step into the group of 4-year-olds that's back. Now he's 5, but step into that older group and be capable over 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
I think his landing spot will probably be Ali Shiva when he comes back. Do you agree?
I would think so.
Unless he goes unless they go to UAE, which I might.
Yeah, I could see that. I think.
By the way, I felt very justified in my Eclipse vote having those 2 in my top 3 for older dirt male. I felt like it backed up that those 2 are 2 of the best 3 in the world.
Yeah, but that was this year, not last year.
No, but what I'm getting it was 3 months ago when we voted, or a month ago when we voted, or whatever. Like, no, but what I'm getting at is it actually. But I like that part that they took a step into the next season.
Yes,
and we get to see them be great again. I think Nisos can actually get way better this year.
Can I give my hot take now?
Please.
I think Forever Young proved Nisos isn't at that level.
Okay, got it. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he is right now. I agree with you.
Well, and not to say that he's not.
By the way, who else on the planet is it Forever Young?
Well, I know that's what I'm saying is I think he's separating himself.
Okay,
now.
that's fair. That I'll listen to all day.
Because I'm not saying Nisos isn't going to come back and run the table the rest of the year. Definitely do.
I think it's absolutely a possibility.
But I think he was alongside Forever Young, and I know he was wider on the turns Forever, but
you don't need to make excuses. He was
Forever Young was in a tougher spot, I think, being on the rail, getting the dirt kicked back. He was in a more uncomfortable spot, and the 2 of them turned for home, and they were side by side, and it never felt like Nisos was going to get him. And then Forever Young separated himself at the end.
I agree.
And he's coming off of however many months it's been since the Classic. He did not have a prep race going into this race like he did last year. Last year, he ran right at the end of December out there in Japan before he went over to Saudi. He didn't have that this year, and he still gave that kind of performance. And I think we saw Forever Young. And maybe part of this is just because Sierra Leone and Fierceness are retired now too. But I think we saw Forever Young really did show himself as I am the clear number 1 dirt horse in the world.
I agree.
And outside of Sovereignty, I don't know if we're going to see anybody that could take him down. So we'll see what Sovereignty comes back with this year. But
do you think Sovereignty is anywhere near his level?
Yes, I do. I still think if Sovereignty was in the Classic, I think he would have won.
Wow. Okay.
I still think that because I think the way the race set up,
he runs like a 158 and change.
Well, I think, yeah. Well, I think
I'm being serious.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it would have been 158, but I mean, he would have. I think he would have. The way I look at these races, like the Classic, is I try to imagine where he would have been in the race. I think he would have been ahead of Sierra Leone. I think he would have moved before Sierra Leone. I think that would have given him the opportunity to catch Forever Young where Sierra Leone didn't. So I do think that if Sovereignty was at the top of his game, I still think that he would have won that classic. Obviously, we'll never know. But I do think that obviously Forever Young is the legit horse right now. And who knows if we'll get that same kind of setup at Keeneland, especially now that Forever Young's going to be ahead of Sovereignty in the early part of the race. I think we know that. Keeneland, I feel like, plays more to where Forever Young could be successful with that. I feel like it's hard to really be a deep closer at Keeneland sometimes. Those big races like that, especially on a day like Breeders' Cup. Like you think back to
be fair, I mean, Sierra Leone won the Bluegrass. I mean,
well, yeah, but I'm thinking
in a very close
the Breeders' Cup, like we've seen the 3 classics that have been there.
I'm just trying to think of dirt horses that I know have closed from way off of it.
That's the one I technically wasn't gate to wire because Life is Good, but that was there. He was on the lead. But
what a waste. What a waste, by the way, with him.
Anyway, long time. But yeah, but I just think Forever Young has shown that whatever is racing right now, he's just above it on the dirt.
Totally agree.
And we'll see whether or not that continues on. I'm obviously, when he comes over here, we'll see what the 3-year-olds turn into as the year goes on. We'll see whether Sovereignty, Baeza, Journalism. I don't know. I feel bad saying them in that order. I got to say Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza, because that's the order they always finish in. But so
I think the horses that don't know you're talking about them will be okay.
No, they won't. Journalism will glare at me next time he sees me. But
Journalism will glare at me the next time I see them.
But we'll see if they can take a step forward here at 4 years old. But yeah, Forever Young is the horse to beat on the dirt in the world right now, and I don't know if it'll be possible to do it. He lost the Dubai World Cup last year. Yeah. I think not having the race before the Saudi Cup will help him this year. And I can't imagine somebody's going to go over there, especially when we're not sending over Sovereignty, Journalism, or any of those guys.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody, unless something goes wrong with Forever Young, he's not feeling it that day. I can't imagine anybody beating him in Dubai.
I imagine because of what you just said, as far as how you feel the classic would have gone had Sovereignty been in it, that you do not think of Forever Young as one of the great horses of your lifetime.
No, I didn't say that, because I consider Sovereignty one of the great horses of my lifetime so far. He could ruin that reputation this year, but I would put him up there. I'm not saying like he's top 5 yet at this point or top 10.
I'm trying to think if I think of Sovereignty as great. It's interesting.
I think he is.
I think he had a very
I know, but I still put a lot of praise into who he beat. I still put a lot of praise into Journalism and Baeza, and you can point at the Breeders' Cup Classic and them getting beat there.
Magnitude on Clark. No, you don't have to do this.
Well,
you don't have to do this.
Just as far as the Classic goes, I mean, we're looking at who I just mentioned, Forever Young, as being head and shoulders above the rest of the world right now. But then Sierra Leone and Fierceness, I think we're going to look back at the Derby 150 crop, the Derby crop of 2024. I think we're going to look back as one of the great 3-year-old crops of this century, at least so far.
It's at least a possibility.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously Mystic Dan didn't have as much success as the other guys did, but he still came back and won graded stakes races and was competitive in everything he ran in. And the Sierra Leone and Forever Young come back and do what they do. You had Fierceness come back. That's just a good crop of 3-year-olds. And so Journalism ran what he got beat by him, but he was there with him in the Classic. Baeza, I don't think necessarily got the greatest trip in the Classic. And I think he'll step forward again this year. So I put a lot of stock into what Sovereignty beat last year, and I think that we'll see him hopefully take a step forward this year, and it should create an exciting matchup at the end of the year, I think.
Sean Collins and Louie Rabaut with you. Turfway Park, the focus of the Oaks and Derby preps this weekend. The Cincinnati Trophy Friday night gets its own evening, 175,000 on the line here. They go a mile on the synthetic in this one, Sean. And this is probably, for many people listening, the field they're going to know the least amount about.
Yes.
Going into the race. Many of these are purely synthetic horses. Many of them had their last race at Turfway Park. In fact, every single one except for Wanzi Weather, who's coming in from Churchill off the turf for Darren Miller, Luan Machado will have them out there, had their last race at Turfway Park. So obviously, trying a bunch of specialists here. This is an interesting group, Sean, because there are a couple in here that I think are pretty interesting. Coco Connect.
Mm-hmm.
I just interviewed John Ennis for the Kentucky Racing Spotlight on Friday. Of course, that won the Val at 6.5. So their shoot for their sprint races maxes out at 6.5 there at Turfway. She went so well in that and was able to close from just off the pace so well that he's going to go ahead and try her over the 2 turns here. And he's turning around. She ran on the 7th of February, so this is a quick turnaround here. but essentially said, look, she deserves the chance to show that she could do this over 2 turns again. Obviously tried her in the goldenrod, wasn't there. He described needing to make little changes on her, training and that kind of stuff. Because if you look back, she broke her maiden at the highest level of Keeneland on the dirt.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's not like she can't run on dirt, right? It was just, hey, we didn't do everything right leaning into that race. And he essentially said, mea culpa, that was my bad. Let's go ahead and make some changes here. He's going to try her back, very short rest. I'm fascinated by her, but there's some other ones in here. If you remember last year, California Burritos Connections, Resist is in here. So this is a fun one. I interviewed Tommy Drury a couple weeks ago. And this is a daughter of McLean's Music, point of entry on the dam side. So we get plenty of distance with all of that. But this is one that 6.5 on debut, goes ahead and wins one of those $100,000 races at Turfway, comes back against winners for the first time at the highest level there again, runs for another 100,000 and runs the same race twice, just at different distances. Gets to go a mile again. She's going to have to break from the outside here, but guess what she did in her last race? Broke from 9 out of 10. She's a fascinating one. Only run twice. But boy, if she wins here, I think you've got an Oaks horse on your hands.
All right.
And I've talked about this on the show. I know it's easy to go, okay, it's a synthetic horse, I'm not doing this. Number one, don't do that. 2 fills, Rich Strike, and lots of good horses.
We always talk about the Jeff Ruby Road has been a good producer at the Derby lately,
right? And
like even Caesar Gray coming out winning the Preakness,
yeah, right. And the Bad Day Mile.
We haven't always necessarily seen that translate to the Oaks field, but we did have Bless the Broken come out of the Bourbon and Oaks last year, run third.
Run third. That's exactly right. And by the way, we are not just trying to pick winners. We're trying to figure out who the field's going to be number one.
Yeah.
But also, hey, who's going to fill out that trifecta? Because you can make some money in a 14-horse field. But no, just some interesting ones. Dame Laura's in here. She was unbelievably impressive for Godolphin last out, over a mile, trying the synthetic for the first time. I imagine she'll be the favorite here. Edgar Morales gets the ride for Brendan Walsh. But lots of great options in here, man. I think as far as preps go, really, really tough to figure out. There's even one in here out of the Karamori barn, in Bell of the Barn. Dylan Machado, so the other Machado, not one, will be riding here. She won on debut in a restricted race because she sold for less than 100,000 in her maiden race. She runs for 40 essentially, and just gets up at the end. And they're like, you know what? Let's find out if you like distance, because she's the daughter of Street Sense, Medaglia d'Oro on the dam side. Man, I feel like this route, for whatever reason, is just the most people try to figure out what their horses do. But man, I think the Bourbon and Oaks is set up to be really interesting this year.
You might be the most excited person for the Cincinnati Trophy I've ever met. I don't think I've ever heard someone so excited for the Cincinnati Trophy before.
The Battaglia will be run on Saturday. It's run for slightly at a slightly longer distance, mile on a 16, same amount of money, 175. And here, Street Beast is trip back after.
And after I talked to Ben Colebrook immediately after he won the Leonidas a couple of weeks ago, it sounded like the plan was we're gonna just wait for the Ruby at this point. So the fact that he's back in here, that points to me that he's doing very well right now. That they're sitting on a hot horse. So I'm expecting big things from him to run well. We know he likes the course. We know he likes the synthetic, and he's breaking from the rail here, but I think he should be able to get out of there, get himself into a good position. So I'm looking forward to what he's going to bring out here this weekend. I think I still don't know if he's necessarily going to be a dirt horse, but I think he could be. I mean, he was one of my top horses going into the juvenile turf last year, and so I think that he could be a legit threat in some of these grass races when we get to the American turf, maybe later on down the road on some of those New York ones. I think he's going to be a good player in the 3-year-old turf division if he doesn't translate to the dirt here.
Last year, we saw a couple of horses come off of the turf to run really well in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Ace's Honor comes over from Houston, a winner in the mile there in the Texas Turf Mile, a very yielding course that day. It was as yielding as it gets. Will make the trip up here. Did win on on the turf at Fairgrounds as well in a maiden special.
I want to make the point about that yielding course. I mean, it was very, very wet at Sam Houston that day. And if you go back and watch that replay, it's going to look like he's really diminishing at the end of that race. He almost gets caught by that race. I talked with Ethan West right after in the winner's circle. I think that was just he was up there setting the pace on the lead on a very wet turf course. And I think it was just kind of taking its toll on him at the very end of the race there. I think he'll gain a lot out of that. And we'll probably run big here this week. And they didn't know at that time when I talked to Ethan what they were going to do with him. The fact that they had sent him down to Louisiana for the turf course, and the fact that they'd have now sent him back up to Kentucky to run him in this race makes me think that they think very highly of what his potential could be this weekend. So
Tommy Morley is sending Atfield to Turfway. He's also sending Ricardo Santana Jr. To ride him here. He was aboard in the Central Park. It's a listed stakes at Aqueduct, running a mile and a 16th on the turf course there. Obviously trying the same distance on the synthetic here. They see this as their chance to get in. This is a son of a coma. No reason he shouldn't like the dirt if he should get there.
Yep.
And frankly, how many times have we seen turf runners run well when races are either washed off onto the dirt at Churchill or just, hey, just decide to run at Churchill, right? And so Atfield's kind of the one that I'm watching here. That's that candy. We talked with Eric last week on the show, that candy ride line. Kind of don't know what the horses can do. But you win the Central Park, I give you a shot for sure to win in the Battaglia. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, first start of the year for him too, coming out of that race. So
obviously going to try to use, he's Triple Crown nominated. Obviously going to try to use this as their route to the Kentucky Derby himself. But yeah, no, just a bunch. I mean, Baytown Dreamer's in here. He tried the Southwest.
Yeah, he's coming back quick off the Southwest.
Yeah,
he didn't get to do much running in that race. So the fact that he comes back here, they must think he's still good to go for this. So
yeah, we saw him in the Pilgrim, for example, at Aqueduct over the fall, and so obviously tried higher level stuff before. Interesting races, man. Back-to-back days there at Turfway Park. Not suggesting it for next year, but it would be nice to have a double between the 2 days. So it would be nice anyways.
Are you like throwing a tailgate for the Cincinnati Trophy, or like how are you celebrating this weekend?
So we do a 4-hour podcast preview at the Horse Racing Happy Hour for just the Cincinnati Trophy. We have every single jockey on, every single owner.
You need all 4 hours to get through. I don't know if 4 hours is going to be enough for you to finish talking about that race.
I'd make a 4:20 joke, but I'm not going to do that on this show. You understand? We're not doing that on this show. 4 hours and 20 minutes is not a joke on this show, Sean.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
Okay. All right. Do you understand the Atfield reference?
Probably not. No. Boy. If you made a reference, it went over my head. So
last name Atfield, no, nothing. No. Yeah, we're old. You're old. If you're listening right now and Sean didn't know that reference and you did, you're just old. It's okay. We'll get into those for sure when we come back. This time of the episode, we always remind you about the magazine. BloodHorse Magazine is available through QR code at the bottom of the screen if you're watching either YouTube or on Spotify. But if you head to the to the website at bloodhorse.com, check out the magazine tab at the top of the homepage. Get signed up for the magazine, get that stallion registry, get those beautiful, beautiful photos on your coffee table every month from our friends at BloodHorse Magazine. And of course, the daily. Go sign up right now. Top of the homepage. Click on daily. Email to your inbox every single day. Costs you nothing. Start your day with BloodHorse. We'd love to have you as that part of that as well. We will have to recap these races when we come back next week.
We will, yes.
There will be others to preview.
There will be, probably.
There you are. Do you think Kate Hunter's working on our plushie for us now?
I think so.
He's over the threshold at this point, right? Is that not?
Yeah, 2 Saudi Cups and not too bad. He's got a grade 1 Japan, doesn't he? Too on top of that. Yeah. So
at some point
we got the one from Joe Moore a couple weeks ago. You saw that here on the show.
Darn right.
Kate's working on getting the
big number on the Joe Moore. Big number on the Joe Moore show, by the way.
Yes,
on the plushies. Big number.
But where the official one supposedly is in the works, and so we've been told by Kate Hunter that she'll bring one down for us. Probably it sounded like timing wise it might not be till Breeders' Cup.
We'll figure it out. But, I'm not worried about it. It's we'll figure it out. The official.
He definitely gets the official one now. I say.
Valentine's Day, you didn't go to the track. I think people need to understand how big of a deal it is, and if your lady's watching, how important she is in your life.
That was the
that you decided not to go to Turfway for some.
I tried to get to Turfway because we were in Cincinnati during the day. The idea was floated out there. It was shot down, and then she got a.
With prejudice or not?
Well, it got.
How much prejudice was there?
Well, she got a.
Was she driving?
No, I was driving. But
oh boy, Sean.
I know. But so we go past Turfway, and I'm like, but Anna Marie's run. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Anna Marie fan, and
that's kind of why I was stunned that you weren't there.
And so I was like, Anna Marie's running, and she still said no. And then a couple hours later, when we were at home, she got a Anna Marie 1 in a kind of slightly annoyed tone. She's like, "Oh, did he?" Yep, we missed it. But no, that was we
can you imagine being with one of us? Can you imagine being married to me or dating you? Like, can you just imagine?
That's a little glimpse of what the life is like. And she had
he won the race. We should have gone. Like, can you imagine being with us? Like, just unbelievable.
But yeah, so No, but this was kind of my makeup. I was not supposed to be in Miami. The Southwest was not supposed to be the weekend after that. So I had a lot of days where I was not here, where I was not originally planned to not be here. So this was kind of a little bit of the makeup for that. But don't think that I didn't figure out a way where I've flown to Turf Paradise off the bucket list on Saturday, drive to Sunland Park for the Sunland Derby on Sunday, and then flown back from El Paso on Monday. Don't think I didn't map that out and have that in my mind for next year. So
He's Sean. I'm Louie. How many hours do I spend on my Cincinnati Trophy preview? Find out next week.
The BloodHorse is dedicated to the improvement of thoroughbred breeding and racing for over 100 years. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and save BloodHorse Monday on all your platforms. For the latest news, analysis, and insights, visit us at bloodhorse.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.